Hey everyone, and welcome back for another deep dive. You ready to talk some AI?
Always ready to talk AI.
It's like we always say, the future is now right.
It really feels that way sometimes, doesn't it? Especially with these new developments with Claude 3.5.
Okay, so Claude 3.5, what's the deal? Lay it on us.
Well, this is a large language model that is really like nothing we've seen before.
We got some notes here, some excerpts that really dig into what makes it so unique.
Right, so basically what we're seeing is an AI that can actually use software.
Use software? Hold on, I thought AI could already code.
Yeah, no, it can definitely code, like generate code.
Yeah.
But this is different. This is like actually using software, clicking, dragging, managing files, like a human user.
Okay, now that is something I haven't heard before.
Yeah, it's called computer use, and it's all thanks to something called agentic workflow.
So Claude 3.5 is the first to be able to do this computer use thing.
As far as we know, yeah. It's the first frontier model to show that it can do this kind of agentic workflow thing. And it's currently in public beta. Anyone can access it through the API.
So it's not just theoretical. People can actually try this out.
Yeah, go check it out.
We'll have to do that.
Okay.
Okay, so let's back up a sec. For those of us who are still wrapping our heads around this, what exactly is agentic workflow? I mean, it sounds pretty sci-fi.
It does, doesn't it? Well, think of it this way. Imagine you're booking a flight online. You open up your calendar to check your schedule. You go to a travel site. Compare prices. Enter your info. You get your tickets.
Okay, I've done that a million times.
Right. So agentic workflow is basically giving AI the ability to do that same thing, to follow those same steps.
So understand the process, the tools needed, and execute it.
Exactly.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is pretty amazing.
Yeah, it's like taking this big leap from AI as a tool to AI as like an agent. Like it can act on its own in our digital world.
Like it has its own digital thing.
Yeah, something like that.
So the notes here mention that there are already some real-world applications of this.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
One example that caught my eye was this software company, Replit. They're using Claude 3.5 to help build and test their agent product development.
Yep, and they're having some pretty good success with it, like using it to navigate their user interface and actually interact with their software.
So it's like training an AI to help them build an even better AI.
Kind of, yeah.
Wild. But okay, let's be real for a minute. How good is Claude 3.5 actually at this agentic workflow stuff? Like, is it ready to take our jobs?
That's the question everyone's asking, right? I mean, it's definitely impressive what it can do,
Yeah.
but it is still early days.
So it's not coming for our jobs just yet.
Well, the source mentions that current performance levels are peaking at around 22%, so,
Yeah.
still some room for improvement.
Okay, so not quite ready to take over the world,
Yeah.
but it's getting there. So where does that leave us humans? Should we be excited? Terrified.
I'd say a little bit of both. I mean, the potential benefits are huge. Imagine AI handling all those tedious tasks we do on computers all day long, freeing us up for more creative stuff.
Yeah, like no more data entry. Sign me up. But then there's the other side of the coin. What about those potential downsides? Job displacement.
Yeah, that's definitely a valid concern. I mean, as AI gets better at doing the things humans do, some jobs are definitely going to be impacted, especially those that are really computer-based. Like the source even mentions software engineering and IT as being early ones that might see changes.
Yeah, no, that's scary.
But it's important to remember that this won't happen overnight. This is going to be a gradual thing.
So it's not like robots are going to show up tomorrow and take everyone's
Oh,
job.
no. We'll have time to adapt and learn new skills. And who knows, maybe there will be new jobs that we haven't even imagined yet.
Okay, that's reassuring. If I got to ask, all this talk about AI gaining so much control, what about safety? What's to stop some rogue AI from messing everything up?
Well, thankfully, the source does talk about safety. Claude 3.5 actually has a safety level categorized as ASL2 standard. That basically means its ability to access and process information is on par with something like Google.
Okay, so it's not like it has unlimited access to all our data.
No, not at all. It can find and use information really well, but it can't just, do whatever it wants with it.
So there are rules in place, guardrails.
Exactly. Think of it like a researcher in a library. They have access to tons of info, but they can't just walk out with any book they want.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So it sounds like we're just at the beginning of this whole journey with Claude 3.5 and agentic workflow. What does the source say about where things might be headed in the future?
Well, one thing they talk about is the potential for humans and AI to actually collaborate more. Imagine working with an AI assistant that can help you with all the boring parts of your job.
Okay, now that's something I could get behind.
Right, freeing you up to focus on the big picture
The
stuff.
strategic thinking, the creative stuff, I like it.
And as the technology evolves, who knows? Maybe AI will be able to do even more complex things, troubleshooting technical issues, automating entire workflows, maybe even developing new software applications.
So instead of replacing humans, it's more about collaboration.
Right, it's about reimagining how we work and recognizing that AI can be this powerful tool to help us tackle big challenges and, reach our goals.
This has been a really fascinating look at Claude 3.5 and this whole agentic workflow thing. But before we wrap up, I have one more question. If AI gets this good at interacting with our digital world, what does that mean for us as humans? Like, what's the big picture here?
That is the big question, isn't it? And honestly, it's a question we'll probably be wrestling with for years to come. But it is exciting to think about. We're kind of at the beginning of a whole new era, one where AI isn't just a tool anymore. It's more like a partner.
Shaping our future.
Exactly.
It's a lot to think about, isn't it?
It really is. Like, we're standing at this crossroads, and the choices we make now about AI are really going to shape the future.
It's kind of overwhelming. But you're right, we can't just ignore it. We have to be part of the conversation.
Exactly. The more we understand about these advancements like Claude 3.5, the better equipped we'll be to make those choices.
So where do we even begin? Like, what are the big questions we should be asking ourselves as we move forward with all this?
Well, for one, how do we prepare for the future of work? If AI is going to be able to handle a lot of the tasks that humans do now, how do we make sure people can adapt, find new opportunities?
Right. It's not just about losing jobs. It's about reskilling and finding new ways to contribute.
Exactly. And then there are the ethical questions, like how do we make sure that these AI systems are fair, unbiased, that they're aligned with our values as humans?
Yeah, we definitely don't want AI making decisions that perpetuate inequality or discrimination.
Right. And then there's the question of control. As AI becomes more and more sophisticated, how do we make sure that humans stay in control? How do we prevent it from becoming too powerful?
I mean, some people are really worried about AI becoming a threat to humanity, like in those sci-fi movies.
I get it. It's a valid concern. But I think that's why it's so important to have these conversations now before AI advances even further.
Okay, so we need to talk about it. But where do we even start with these big, complex issues?
I think education is a good place to start. We need to educate ourselves and future generations about AI, the potential benefits, the risks. Give people the knowledge and skills they need to navigate this whole new world.
And it's not just about the technical skills, is it? It's about critical thinking, problem
Yes,
solving, being adaptable.
Exactly. And we need to think about the ethics too. Make sure that AI development is responsible, put human well-being at the center of it all.
I like that. Responsible AI development. That's a good way to put it. It's about making sure AI is used for good,
Eh,
to help us, not harm us.
right. And that requires everyone to work together. Researchers, developers, policymakers, the public. We all have a role to play.
It's easy to get caught up in all the fear and anxiety around AI. But listening to you talk about it, I'm actually feeling hopeful.
Oh, good.
I mean, if we approach this with intention and focus on the positive found, we really can create a future where AI benefits humanity.
I agree. It's not about being afraid of the future. It's about shaping it. We have the power to guide this technology in a direction that serves us.
Well said. So as we wrap up this part of our deep dive into Claude 3.5 and all its capabilities, what's the one big takeaway you want our listeners to remember?
I think the most important thing is that the future of AI is not set in stone. We're creating it right now. And the choices we make today really matter.
It's powerful stuff. We're not just along for the ride. We're the ones in the driver's seat.
Exactly.
It's amazing to think about how far we've come with AI. I mean, it wasn't that long ago that we were impressed by AI beating a chess grandmaster, and now we're talking about AI that can use software just like a human.
I know, it's incredible. And the pace of innovation is only getting faster. What we're seeing with Claude 3.5 and Agentic workflow is really just the tip of the iceberg.
One thing that's really stuck with me through all this is how much potential AI has to make our lives better. Like we've talked about efficiency and new jobs and even more creative freedom.
Absolutely. I mean, imagine AI helping us solve some of the biggest challenges we face as humans, like climate change, healthcare, education.
Right. It's pretty mind-blowing.
Right.
But like we said, we have to make sure we develop and use it responsibly, ethically.
Couldn't agree more. We can't just ignore the potential downsides. We have to be thoughtful and intentional.
Yeah, like bias in AI, data privacy, the impact on jobs. These are all important conversations to have.
For sure. We all have a responsibility to make sure AI is used for good.
It's not just about the technology itself. It's about what it means for us as humans. our identity, our purpose? What does it mean if AI can do so many of the things we do now?
It's a big question. And it's one that I think will force us to reevaluate our priorities, what really matters to us, what makes us human. I think it's an opportunity for us to focus on those things: creativity,
Yeah.
empathy, connection.
Those are the things that make life worth living, right?
Hmm.
And maybe AI can help us free up more time and energy to pursue those things.
Exactly. It's not about fearing AI, it's about embracing the potential for a better future. A future where humans and AI work together to create something amazing.
Well said. And on that note, I think it's time to wrap up this deep dive into Claude 3.5 and agentic workflow. Thanks to everyone for joining us on this journey. It's been a fascinating one for sure.
It has. And as always, we encourage you to keep learning, stay curious. The world of AI is constantly evolving, and there's always something new to discover.
So until next time, keep exploring and keep those minds open.